guys, Mike Regan here, GamingRing.com, E3 Day 2. Bryan Williams, my good friend from THQ.
Mike, it's always good to see you, man.
Yes, man.
You all out there, too. I love Gaming Ring.
Thank you. So let's talk about, Smackdown vs. Raw 2011. What's going on?
Let's talk about it. Well, as you just watched me play this year. I mean, of course, we got a lot of stuff that we're doing this year for SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. What we're showing today is their TLC match. We've added for the first time. I mean, last year we added physics, but not to the extent that most people probably, thought. So this year we went balls out. Oh, can I say balls out?
You can say all that.
We went balls out with the physics of the game. So we're showing the TLC match, but this isn't just relegated to that match type. I mean, dynamic physics is just in the game itself. So whether you're in a backstage, brawl or whatever, or you're playing a table match or a normal match with weapons in play, the dynamic physics is now a part of it. So it just, we got rid of all the canned and scripted sequences, which I know all you guys know about. I know you know about. Oh, sorry about that. Putting people through tables. It was like you can only do it one way. Yeah. So we don't have any of that anymore. It's all free form. It's like I mentioned earlier. It's like a sandbox fighting environment. Where you can interact with all the objects, and the objects interact with you, the superstar, in a realistic fashion.
So, like, for example, the Hell in a Cell. So, like, you could put the person in a suplex and throw them in the cell that way?
Getting into territory I can't talk about just yet about the Hell in a Cell. But, yeah, along those lines,
Okay. What else is new in gameplay-wise, besides the physics?
All right, gameplay-wise?
Yeah, gameplay.
Okay. Now, it's a lot of small things mixed in with, I won't call them big things, but I think when you take them all together, it does change things subtly. We no longer have the modifier button for grappling. The right stick is all you need. So, and we basically flipped it. Whereas, in 2010 and all the other SmackDowns before it, you needed to get into a chain hold to do your grapple moves, like your strong ones. Like last year, for example, you had your quick grapples right off the bat, but in order to do like your strong moves, you had to get into like a collar and elbow, a waist lock. But anybody who watches wrestling, and I know you guys do, I know everybody out there does, it was backwards. When you watch the flow, the psychology of a match, matches start out with chain grappling, and they work themselves in to doing the bigger and more powerful moves when the guy is dazed or groggy. So that's what we're doing this year. So when you grapple an opponent, that's non-groggy straight up, you'll go into a chain hold. And just like before, it's all dependent on the flick that you use. So if I press the right stick down, and me and you were playing, I'll get you in a waist lock. And from there, I can do a move. But unlike last year, it's going to be like it's basically like your weak grapples. And what you want to do is gradually, work your way up so that your opponent, you basically, stop using the chain holds. And once damage is applied, the opponent starts to get into this, what I call a vertical groggy state, where they're on their feet and they're just kind of, looking punch drunk. And that's when you grapple them in that situation to do your powerful moves, your DDTs, your drivers, your fisherman drivers, all that kind of cool stuff to kind of put away your opponent. So you get that much more natural, progression from your weak moves to your strong moves to eventually your finisher and the match. Just using a one-on-one match as an example. What else? We changed the finisher stipulation a little bit. You no longer have to get your opponent groggy to do your finisher. You can hit a cold breaker from just standing in front of a guy. You don't have to kick him in the gut or get him in a hole to do it. So that goes for front finishers, rear finishers, which I think it just makes the game a little easier to play. Because I wanted to reward players. Once you got your momentum up, like, you shouldn't have to work any harder than that. It's like you did the work. Now it's time to reap that, that reward of that work. So I think it really helps. It goes a long way. You can also do some finishers. You can do them for multiple situations. I'm using the cold breaker as an example again. You can do it just from standing in front of your opponent, or you can do it from a run. So same with the RKO and some other moves. And, a lot of moves are like that, where maybe you can do it from, a run and an Irish whip rebound. So we kind of combine them to, again, just make it a little bit more easier for players to pull off these signatures and finishers because they work so hard to achieve them.
Now, per wrestler with the moves, I know this is just a demo or the representative of the final game. How many moves will the wrestler have compared to last year? Was it cut down a little bit, or was it still the same, all the moves that or more increased?
Thank you for bringing that up because, I know you're going to be posting, footage of this demo. And just for this E3 demo, we only gave the superstars 2 moves. to show off, oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention this in the whole gameplay speech. But this year you can now control the direction of your grapple throw. So to highlight that and to show that in this demo, we just gonna trim the moveset down just for the demo. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the moves being repeated. But when the game ships, Superstars will have, let me see, so there are 4 chain holds, 4 moves can be performed out of that, so that's 16. 8 strong grapples, so that's that. It's a lot of moves, I'm bad, I don't want to add up everything right now. Plus, we added the Trio Woe attack position, so there are more moves you can do out of that. We did some things to the corner position, so you basically broke it down into 2 different states. You throw a guy to the corner, and when he's leaning there, just like before, you can do some moves, but they're like weak moves. They're moves that you're not going to be able to pull off a superplex just from having the guy in the corner. You have to put him up into that situation. And from there, we have more moves you can do. So we really expanded. I mean, it's a lot of moves, that's one thing that I think from other wrestling games that our game has. I mean, we definitely don't skimp when it comes to players' movesets and everything.
Now, let's talk about submissions a little bit, and how's that improved? Because it seemed like an issue for the previous games. Some moves were submissions, some weren't.
Like just in terms of like the mechanic itself, or just moves submissions that have been
exactly, and the mechanic itself as well. Some missions automatically submitted, and some missions were a wear down move, but they were actually in real life, they would be a submission move.
Well, what it was last year and the same this year, we didn't do anything new with submissions as far as the gameplay mechanic. Unfortunately, I wish we would have had time to do so. I really wanted to. But basically, any struggle submission, excuse me, any struggle submission can be used to submit a guy. Struggle submissions that are just a part of your moveset, it definitely will take a bit more work. Like, you're not going to be able to submit somebody with a chin lock. It's kind of a basic. Well, I mean, you can if you hit the guy with like maybe 3 or 4 finishers, but it's possible. But at the same time, not easy to do. Because, I mean, obviously, how many people do you see tapping out to a chin lock on program? Even the low card guys, you don't see that happening. So we still have the struggle submission. So any struggle submission can be used to force a tap out. We did add a couple of new struggle submissions. We got the ankle lock in there.
That's a big one.
Yeah. We got the ankle lock in there.
We had somebody on the forums who every time we have a submission about submissions, he mentioned ankle lock.
I know.
Ankle lock.
And what's messed up is that we actually had it ready to go last year, but just time, that's always our worst enemy is just time. Well, we got that, and I'm trying to think. We have a couple more. I can't think on the top of my head right now. It's loud in here. I can't really think straight.
I understand.